You're listening to the Fire in the Hole podcast with Richard and Jason, available on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
If you like the show, you can help us out by supporting us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and by rating and reviewing us on iTunes.
If you want to be a guest on the show, or you want to get in touch, drop us a line at fireintheholepodcast@gmail.com. That's fireintheholepodcast@gmail.com.
Enjoy the show.
What bugs you most about comedy today? Is there a trend in the business that's irksome to you?
Idiots confusing the target of the joke with the subject of a joke. It's been getting worse and worse. The last 5 years, it's social media, it's everyone.
Well, and this past week, Trevor Noah kind of experienced the downside of tweeting jokes.
Yeah, but I don't even mean, you haven't got a get out of jail free card with, it was just a joke. I don't believe that, and I'm all for political correctness, right? But it's not about that. It's about stupid people misunderstanding the joke and then getting angry about it.
So we're live.
Live from Blue Dog.
We were live.
We were live in the past.
In the past. We're at the Blue Dog Motel with what's going to be a little comedy show called There's Something Funny Going On, hosted by the uncanny, I keep using that word, the inimitable.
Today's word of the day is uncanny.
Uncanny.
Cannot be canned.
Despite efforts to can said person, they can't do it. So the amazing Rashta, who definitely, if you know the Montreal scene, if you know the bars, she apparently manages about 27 of them.
Does she really?
Yeah, she's everywhere. Rashta's like this secret weapon that nobody knows about. And amongst one of the many things that she does in Montreal is run this comedy show at the Blue Dog Motel. For those of you listening, the Blue Dog Motel is the kind of bar you'd want to be shot in.
Is it?
In the old days.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
It's got the cool kind of... it's got the...
Animal heads?
Yeah, animal heads. Stuffed geese with running shoes hanging from the top of the bar.
Let's have a bit of like a saloon feel to it.
That's kind of, I think, where I was getting my feels. Yeah. There's a bit of a 50s, maybe even the 40s gangster feel to it. A greaser. This is a place where a greaser band could play. It's punk. It's also doubles as a salon, I think.
Does it really?
I think so.
Saloon or salon?
Salon. Yeah. I don't think. Hey, Rashta. Yeah. I think people get their hair cut here. I don't think that. You think that's just decoration?
I don't know.
It doesn't seem like it. There's a full-on barber chairs and stuff in the front there.
Oh.
Maybe Rashta can clear up that mystery.
Perhaps.
But, so we're kind of, this was your idea.
Yeah, well, we've been testing out the mobile gear, so why not take it one step further?
Yeah, Richard's done an outstanding job as head of the technology and development R&D department, and he's developed this sort of stealth case that contains essentially your entire studio.
That's right. I am the department.
You are.
So by default, I'm the head of the department.
Correct.
Yeah.
Also executive producer and associate director.
Sure.
And various other titles that you can that mean nothing.
Yeah.
But that essentially suggest that you're in charge. But yeah, no, really great job, man, on the setup.
Thanks, man. I'm pretty happy with it.
I could keep seeing people looking at us, wondering what's in the case.
Yeah, it's true. It does look kind of like a gun case.
Yeah, it looks almost. Yeah, it looks a bit like the Pulp Fiction case.
Yeah.
we should jury rig like a light in there.
Yeah.
And then always open it, turning away from people, and then have this really euphoric look on our face when we look into it, and just close it down again and just walk away with darting eyes left and right. But certainly no one would guess that there's a production studio.
There's a full studio.
Fire in the hole.
Here for 4 people inside this one little case.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, we shit on technology a lot, but it's a little bit of all right.
It's a little bit all right.
That we could, we could have made do with far less, but
sure.
it wasn't a huge effort, I think, to put this together.
Says you.
Says me.
No, it's ridiculously easy.
Yeah, it's not like, I mean, if you're a drummer in a band, you're on shit detail.
Yeah.
Right? Even as a guitarist, you're dragging shit around. But as a drummer, no matter how much they advance that technology, you're still dragging around 700 cases with stands and cymbals and things that need to be set up and screwed together and adjusted and shit. And hey, there goes Wassim. I'll try to get his attention when he comes back. Yeah, so with a little bit of luck, we'll be able to actually pull in some of the talent to shoot the shit with us.
Yeah, that could be fun.
If they're willing. We'll see how this goes. They may want to stay in the zone before the podcast. They may want to do it after. We'll see how it goes.
Who knows? We'll play it by ear.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing is that we just try out new shit.
Absolutely.
So this is new shit.
This is new shit.
Hopefully it's an episode.
Hopefully. We've managed to make episodes out of less.
That's true.
And the roof casting has been good. I got some good feedback on the last episode.
Oh yeah, with
Mr.
Cliff.
Yeah, Mr. Caparel. Yeah,
Nice.
A lot of people thought it was a lot of fun.
Cool.
And
I like Cliff.
Yeah,
It's good peeps.
he's good peeps. And I didn't go to Comic-Con this year, but I passed by it and I saw it looks like it was a beast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was hot too this weekend. So I think some of the cosplayers probably had a hell of a time.
Oh my God, yeah.
You know, with like the interconnecting wings and shit in the back.
Except if your costume is big enough that you can actually put air conditioning inside.
There's got to be some people who've worked that out.
They have to.
Because it's just not.
There's no choice.
Although, it seems to me, from my experience and what I've seen, is some people will just somehow inhumanely put up with it. They'll have these like full set of interconnecting armor plates and mechanical wings and shit that you can't even go through a doorway.
Yeah. You can't even go to the washroom.
And they can't go take a whiz, nothing, and they essentially just they stand in the lobby the entire day. They can't even like go for a walk through the market or whatever. They might be able to like hustle it to the competition, you know.
Yeah.
But they just stand there all day and
Yeah,
maybe
holy
come back
shit.
for 2 days or 3 days in a row.
Yeah, that's insane.
You look
Yeah,
like you were going
it
to
takes
say
some.
something.
That just takes some crazy dedication.
I think so.
Gotta admire that.
Yeah, I mean, I always wonder what goes on through those people's heads. I mean, I think it's great, but you know, it's one thing to put on a pair of cat ears and and a tail and show your boobies and you know, do that, and then these guys who are like, it's a 7-month project,
Right.
$800, and I look somewhat like Master Chief from Halo now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's not my thing, but I admire anything that takes dedication and, you know, where people are actually doing shit.
Would you like to join us, Wassim? Come on in, man. So, without further ado, Mr. Wassim
That's my name.
El-Mounzer. Do you do the whole thing when you
It tends to throw people.
Yeah?
Wassim is a lot for people to handle sometimes.
Yeah.
Even though I understand it's not a common name, but it is 2 syllables. So sometimes, you know, it's like a 20-minute process to get through Wassim.
I know what you
So
mean.
I feel like I'm not going to just toss El-Mounzer there just willy-nilly. You know?
You're like, that's for next time.
Yeah. Well,
Let's get through Wassim this time.
Baby steps. Yeah.
Baby steps through the.
Yeah.
So you're a comic.
That's right.
I've seen you around.
Sometimes, yeah.
I've seen you do good.
Right back at you.
Thank you. Thank
Janos.
you. You were part of the Young Guns, I think, a while back.
Yeah, this January.
Yeah. Okay.
Series of shows at the Comedy Nest.
So how long you been
early
there?
January.
How long you been doing this?
It's been like 4 years or so.
Okay.
But I started in South Korea,
Okay.
which, yeah. I say Korea. I say South Korea, not Korea, because I usually inevitably will get the question
Is
of...
that North Korea?
Which would be a really cool story if I started comedy in North Korea.
Can you? I feel like there's a bit right there, just comedy in North Korea. What
Yeah.
that would be like.
That was one of my first bits. It wasn't very good. I scrapped it. But I think there's something potentially there. You know?
Everything is fine.
Just like, yeah.
This is a wonderful place.
Yeah.
The
just
Supreme Leader is great.
great haircut. Yeah.
We're doing great, and everybody is happy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Your torture instruments are very clean. Thank you.
Exactly. The following people are not following the rules and are in trouble now.
Yeah, that's that's your tight 5 right there.
It just as you finish, like these secret police like bum rushes the place and takes away 10 people,
Yeah.
and there's your applause and your cheers.
Yeah,
So South
that'd be
Korea?
kind of cool. Yeah, if that was. Well, it would be also horrific.
ESL?
Yeah, ESL teacher,
You too.
South Korea.
What is
Yeah.
it with the I've done ESL for like 8 years.
Yeah, have you?
there
Are
was
you still doing it?
I still have a group. I'm doing something else now, but I still have a group I teach because I took a liking to them, and
Cool.
I've developed them. But so you just like, did you do some ESL here and then you went out there?
No, I just had no idea what I was going to do.
Okay.
And I know English, and I have the Canadian passport, white privilege, or Canadian privilege, beige, whatever.
Definitely not white. Yes.
No, but it's enough privilege that I can go
It's
over
definitely,
there. I realized how important that Canadian passport is then.
It really is.
Yeah.
What specifically made you realize it?
With this Canadian passport, I can go to like almost half the countries in the world and just be like, hey, you guys want to learn some English? And they're like, yeah, here's some money.
There's just like trust.
Yeah, it opens a lot of doors to impoverished nations.
Impoverished
where I
nation-
can
yeah.
colonize them with my language ability.
I must be that British seal on the passport. It's still there, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think they see that. They're like, Canadian, British? Canadian. Okay,
Yeah, it's
sure.
close enough.
Close enough.
I'm pretty sure the Queen stamps them all personally.
I think that's what she does.
Legal.
She does nothing else.
She's got to do something.
She's
with her
got to
time.
do something apart from awkwardly visit people.
Yeah.
I don't think she does anything else.
Yeah.
So you just took a plane and you went there.
Well, I got a job first,
Uh-huh.
and then I took a plane and got there. I was originally planning to stay for a year, but I heavily enjoyed it. It's an awesome place to live, South Korea.
Is it?
Yeah, I can go on forever.
Like the food, the weather,
Food, the weather,
the ladies?
the ladies, the men, if you're into that. Just the people are beautiful.
Uh-huh.
But yes, the ladies. For
Yeah?
myself, for my own taste, it's gorgeous. It's just easy to get by there. I'm not much of a partier myself, but
Okay.
like the nightlife over there is like fantastic.
Is like it never sleeps or?
Hey, 4 a.m., you're hammered, you want to hit some golf balls? Like next block. You want to hit some
that's
baseballs? There's not just hitting balls. Arcade. You want to
Also has balls.
karaoke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can just do stuff all the time.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And the food's cheap. It's amazing.
Yeah.
No tax, no tip. You want a piping hot meal, it's fresh at 6 a.m., no problem.
Oh, man, that sounds
You live
like
in
a
the
little bit of-
suburbs, no problem.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what happens when you tip? Do they like? Does
I
everything
never
stop?
tried.
No,
I'm a terrible person.
it's just not done.
Yeah, it's just not part of the culture. I've been told it's rude, but I never tested that out. I don't know. I was just like, you don't tip.
It's actually considered
Yeah,
rude.
don't tip. That's what I was told.
There's a ton of places that are like that. You don't
Yeah.
tip.
What about like you went to Portugal recently? What was it?
They don't tip.
No tippy?
No. We gave somebody a tip, and he wanted to like name his first child after us or something. He was just like
He brought out the whole family.
he had like an acceptance speech like ready, like he wasn't prepared. He got like a little
choked up.
misty.
Tears.
It's such I always constantly wonder about that tipping culture thing. It's really fucked how different it is from one place to another.
Yeah.
How other places, if like it's not that exact amount, like the chef comes out in tears, like, "What did I do?
yeah.
What did I do?"
Yeah. You give him 14% here, and it's over.
Yeah.
They're chasing you to your car
yeah.
or bicycle or
Well, the
bus
whole-
stop.
And the dingiest place will give you attitude, like the shittiest shitty cafe
Yeah, exactly.
with some like half-blind guy serving you, and I'm like, "Sorry, but that was 13%." And you're like,
Yeah.
"What?"
You don't like the service?
You don't
You're
like-
like, dude, there was a spider in my poutine. Like, I mean,
It's supposed to be there. Spider
I actually asked our host in Portugal. I was like, "Oh, you don't tip here? Is that because like people in the service industry make a living wage?" He's like, "No. That's
There's-
not it at all."
Perish the thought.
I'm just a poor human.
I was about to say like, "Oh, that's cool." You know,
It's so forward thinking.
you don't need to rely on the kindness of strangers.
Europe is more advanced. No, it's not.
No,
They
it's
just
not.
wallow in misery. Yeah, England. England is like that too. I figured out, like, that's a thing I do now. I stop every country I go to. I'm like, what's the tipping thing here? What's that, love? And they're like, what's the tipping thing? No, man, no tipping. You're like, okay, I don't do accents, as you can hear.
That was bad.
But
Got the love in there. That was
yeah,
good.
the love kind of
Yeah,
it was like a
yeah.
disguise move. Yeah. So okay,
But the
so
person that you asked whether or not they wanted to have a tip, they're like, "No, you don't give me a tip."
yeah, no, they were like, just don't tip anywhere.
I think like if I was working there, someone asked me, "Do you want tip or no tip?" I'd be like, "Tip."
Well, they were a subway worker. I don't mind the gap person.
Oh, okay.
There was no avenue there.
Okay.
It can't be like, oh, I have like a pass and here's a little something for it. Like, there's just places tipping would just be super odd. You know, just not only would it not be accepted, but it would the person be like, okay, what's going on here, and like press the panic button or something, like terrorist. I don't know. So how does that lead to comedy?
Living there for a year or so, a friend of mine just threw up a post on the old Facebook saying he's going to have an open mic for comedy. And I'd thought of it, I thought of it. I was always too scared. It was like one of those bucket list things. And I jumped on it, frantically prepared a set for a few nights, panicked hard, sweat through places I didn't know you could sweat. And it went well enough. In my mind, it went amazingly. Like, I thought I killed at the time. But I still have a video. It's very mediocre.
This is in Korea or back here?
This is in Korea. My first set was in Korea.
Stand up in Korea. What's
early
that like?
2013. So
Like with Koreans or with like expats?
with expats.
Okay.
There's always, it's Korea, so there's Koreans in the bar,
There's gonna be.
presumably. Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of bars where it's like majority expats.
Okay.
They're usually owned by an expat and like have like foreign beers and stuff. So yeah, did an open mic. Went well enough, I thought at the time. I liked it. And then I kept going. There's a pretty small scene there in Korea, but it's pretty vibrant. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Bunch of shows at all the little expat bars around Seoul and in other big cities like Busan. And I really fell in love with it over there. I kept doing it for like 2 or so years over there, but it's few and far between. And then I came back to Montreal about 2 years ago, and I've been doing it relatively more often. Yeah.
What is the attitude anything like different in Korea in terms of like what you can say or can't say, or what do people react to the most? Is it political stuff or?
It's honestly, I feel like there's more censorship in Montreal
Than in South
yeah.
Korea?
The expat community tends to be like just like freer people who just don't give a fuck. They left their country.
They got
like,
out.
It's border. The people who don't really care about strict guidelines and borders in general, of course. So I found the general population. Oh man, in the beginning, you'll say some weird. I said some awful things my first 6
Such
sets.
as?
God, I don't even want to repeat them. Just they weren't even funny. They were terrible. I don't know.
And they were loving it?
They weren't loving it, but nobody.
Nobody would like.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody was chasing me with pitchforks afterwards.
Politically, is there anything that's out of
No, not at all.
off the table? No.
No, not in the slightest bit. Honestly, you could get away with anything there.
You can be like that fucking nut. How about that nutcase up north? How about that guy?
Yeah, they'll be like, yeah,
Okay.
Kim Jong-un, terrible, very bad guy, and you'll be, they'll love you right away.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they were always this laid back, but maybe just living next to like an apocalyptic psychopath regime has made them super like whatever. It could end any time. So you just should have fun. Just leave the bars open. Just
You got to it could be raining down poorly crafted missiles anytime.
Any day we could get some styrofoam missiles on our heads. Which I still don't know if that's a thing. Like with all the news, like it's not clear to me if he's actually sitting on any actual real weaponry or not. It's confusing. It seems like
I don't know.
they land in the water, but then he just launched something. Like I don't know.
They barely have food, right? Like
Yeah.
there's like in the late 90s, 1 million people starved to death.
1 million.
1 million North Koreans. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but I'm just.
No.
I
No,
can't
you're
imagine you have.
You're laughing because it's cartoonish.
It's
absurd,
horrific.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a little bit obsessed with North Korea. Like I went through phases of just watching every documentary, every footage of people going inside there. It's fascinating to me. But it's a horrific place, and I can't imagine they have anything advanced enough to be as scary as they say they are.
Unless I don't know, who knows? But I mean, I just think, what if someone had gotten Kim Jong-un like one of those little rocket ship sets when he was a kid? You know those little ones you can buy at the store you can shoot little rockets out. Or did they get him one, and that's the problem? Like, there's nothing else. That's all he played with in his whole life, and now he's just obsessed with shooting rockets. Like, it's such a
Well, his dad did that too.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, isn't officially his grandfather still the leader?
Kim Il-sung is the immortal, endless life leader of North Korea.
So he's just like a steward of Gondor type of.
He's I don't get that reference, but he's probably that.
Okay, he's just like there's no king. It's like, are you really Lord of the Rings? That was too deep. I'm sorry.
No, I mean I'm getting around to it.
Okay,
Getting
but
around to it.
anyway,
One
basically they're run by a ghost.
They're run by a ghost. They
Is
have
he-
a ghost leader.
Do they believe
Ghost
he's still
president.
alive?
It's. I
Or
mean,
he's become matter.
he's floating around
He's
there.
somewhere-
I don't know. He
he's
didn't
always
die,
there.
but he's not around because he's magic.
But his influence
Yeah.
and his commandments are still...
He's watching you. That's for sure. He's
Wow.
watching your every move. And
That's
Force
a-
Ghost.
yeah.
Sorry?
Force Ghost.
Force Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like Christian Hayden's only in the special edition. Tell me you got that reference, please, Wassim.
I'm so sorry. I'm not very good at references. I've seen like 3 TV shows. No, I've seen a lot of TV shows. Movies, forget about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you come back here, you start doing comedy,
Yeah.
and
And
do you like? I
Still
can't.
hate myself. I don't know. Sorry, where was this going?
No, we know that. We know that part. We know enough about comedy to say. But did you like? Are you the kind who like? No, I can't watch any specials. I'm working on my material. Or no, it's totally fine. I'll watch any comedy I can find because it doesn't interfere or it helps me.
I think you got to be a student of comedy. Personally, that's what I'm trying to be. I'd like to watch more. I like to think I watch enough, but I'm always trying to get my hands on whatever's out there. I don't. It's not that hard to get your hands on it. It's online, but
Yeah.
no, I definitely like to. I like to go watch a lot of live stuff, especially, and just study what's going on. And I feel like it motivates me to write and get better. When I see someone just kill it and they have just their ideas are just so concise and there's a flow through the whole set, that motivates me and makes me
Me
want to do
too.
it.
I have to agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
I thought I'd be kind of crushed to see someone really good and then be like, oh, I can't do as well. But no, it doesn't have that effect at all. I'm happy to say.
It can. I mean, I saw Bill Burr 2 years ago and I was like, I should quit. Why?
Like you
Why?
saw him live and
I saw him live.
He just destroyed everything.
And I was like, there's no point of me doing this at all. However, then a few weeks later, this is 2015 JFL, I saw Dave Chappelle, and I was like, man, Bill Burr should quit. If any, but that's no. With all due respect to him, like that, just even that
Okay.
level. There's another level. So like,
There's always a bigger fish type thing.
so I may never get there,
Right.
but hey, I don't know. I could at least hopefully do this, make a little bit of money, so that I don't have to fucking
What's
teach kids.
the furthest apart from South Korea? What's the furthest you've gone out of Montreal?
That's as far as you can go. I think it's the other side of the world. I don't know.
No, but in terms of, have you done comedy in Vancouver, or have you been out to Toronto?
No, I spent a week in Toronto like a couple of years ago, and besides that, no. Just going to Toronto, Montreal, and South Korea are the only places I've performed. Yeah.
Okay. Because, I mean, that's the thing, is that I constantly remind myself that one of the disfavors we do, or one of the things we do to ourselves when we're in a dark place, looking at some master comedian, is we forget that they're seasoned in a much different way than any one of us might be, right? I mean, if you're an American comic, the road is just like, there's like 20 countries, 50 countries really within that country,
Totally.
And while
Very different countries.
Yeah, very different, very literally, and Bill Burr does a great job of doing that. Like, although I did feel like he fucked up on his last special, and he chose the wrong crowd for his material, but he does that brilliant bit about the 22 buying a gun, and he even knows how to adapt it to when he's doing it with like rednecks.
Yeah.
And then but it still works when he does it with East Coasters and kind of Democrats type of thing.
Sure.
But
It's got a good spread. Is that what that bit? Yeah, that's a great bit.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
No, it's a fantastic bit, but I feel like it's almost not fair to compare ourselves. We don't have that kind of access to that variety of shows, and for them, like, if we told them, I do comedy like twice a week, 3 times, and that's here would be considered someone who's really committed to the craft.
Yeah, you're hustling 3 times a week in Montreal.
Over there, it's like 6 times a night, and you're just running between bars. You have this whole strip worked out downtown where you're going from club to club to club to club. So if we're anywhere even near that level, I think that's kind of impressive. To hear anyone that's even in that ballpark, without that seasoning, I don't know. Does any of this make sense?
No, I totally understand. I wouldn't consider myself in that category, but I've seen people in Canada, mainly Toronto, where you kind of can do that hustle.
Yeah.
Who are just, I've seen headliners from Toronto who are better than any headliner I've seen. Period. Coming out of the States,
Well, Canada
There's
does
a lot of
produce
talent.
a lot of funny fucking people. That's true. Yeah. What do you think it is? Like, is it just the cultural mixtures, or?
I think multiculturalism helps. You get to see a lot of, be exposed to so many different outlooks and perspectives on the world. It's so fucking cold. I don't know what else are you gonna do. Like, you just like, you gotta cheer yourself. I don't know. Laughing probably burns calories, creates body heat or something.
Sure, yeah.
Dopamine.
I'm just making shit up.
Keeps you alive mentally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either that or you just waste away.
Yeah, exactly. Which, kind of do anyway by nature. But
yeah, but it's a strange thing that we do, this comedy thing. It's a strange thing.
it really is. Sometimes I wonder why. And then you have a good show and you're like, okay, I get it.
Is there more comedy now, you think, than ever? Or is there just more exposure?
I think just because of the internet. It's just things are accelerating. Everything's in your face. There might be just as much. I don't know because I wasn't in it, 10, 15 years ago. But it seems that, like, you can just flip on your phone and your YouTube page has like 20 new...
Everyone has a special.
Conan sets or whatever, or specials or like podcasts. So it seems like it's everywhere. I think it's more prevalent, but it may just be that we're seeing it more.
We're seeing it more just like pedophiles and school shootings. And
sure.
I didn't mean to say that comedy's in that neighborhood, but...
I mean, I was going to wait it out to see where you were going.
I'm just saying, like...
Just seeing pedophiles everywhere.
I have a way of...
It back,
I
sometimes,
see
not always.
Yeah. Usually. You have a pretty good success rate, though, I'd say.
Okay.
You going to see anybody for the JFL?
Definitely. So... Speaking of like really good headliners I've seen, and I've worked with Mike Rita out of Toronto. Fantastic. One of the best headliners I've seen, period. He's 27. Holy shit, what a talent. What a talent.
What is it? Without the mentioning, of course, the jokes, like what is it about him that...
He's a fantastic storyteller. His energy is infectious. He's on the ethnic show. However, he doesn't narrow himself down. He has a lot of good like ethnic material. Comes from Portuguese.
But doesn't go for the easy shit.
No. It's very personable. It's not just like, oh, ethnic parents do this, white parents do that. It's like, this is a story about my mom and my dad, and it's personable and it's hilarious. And he talks a lot about like cannabis legalization, just very relatable stuff. Hilarious. He's going to be in the ethnic show, which was going to be hosted by Maz Jobrani. Then it seemed to be changed. Now it's Alonzo Bowden, who's amazing. I saw him last year at JFL. Holy shit, what a killer. So I'm going to check out the ethnic show. I'm going to see Tom Segura.
Oh, yeah, good one. He's good.
I'd like to see Arj Barker.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people I'd like to see, but so little money. I see how if I can steal anybody's pass. I don't know why I'm whispering on a podcast. Somebody out there is listening, wants to give me their pass or Zoo Fest, anything.
He needs it, ladies and gentlemen. It's research.
Yeah,
it's research.
I saw Bill Burr recently. Wasn't part of JFL.
Heard it was very good.
It was amazing. I take everything back about him.
Yeah,
I was just trying to give the analogy of like levels of comedy. Like even as good as Bill Burr is, like there's a level above that.
Sorry,
That's
Bill.
what I was trying to say.
Sorry, Bill.
He'll never care about me.
He'll be
doesn't
okay.
matter.
He'll be right.
It's more for if there's fans out there like, what did you say?
How dare
My
you
gun's
say?
got a good spread. I don't know. Just
do you consider the fact that you're ethnic, quote unquote, something that needs to be addressed as a comic, or it
definitely doesn't need to,
or is it just inescapable?
It's inescapable. It depends on your experience. It's a very big part of my experience as a kid growing up in Montreal and such a multicultural city, because we just played on stereo. In high school, that's just how we kind of made fun of each other. We just played a lot on stereotypes.
That's true.
There was a kid from every country.
Yeah.
So
we all got beaten up at home.
Yeah, exactly. It was just relatable things like that, and like I don't know, it was kind of ingrained into my psyche a little bit. I don't think you have to. I don't know, if that wasn't part of your experience and didn't taint your outlook of life, don't talk about it. So I do have a lot of material about that, but because it's just like when I think about what's funny and what do I laugh about with my close friends, a lot of it is that. However, in the beginning when I started, I had so many just hack stock jokes about being Arabic. Blah, blah, blah. Guess what? I went to the airport. Guess what happened? And I look back and I'm like, barf. But like I saw other Middle Eastern comics doing that, and I was like, oh, I can do that. And I could. And it actually went well. Some of my first sets went better than how I'm doing now. But it's garbage. It was hack garbage, And I'm trying to erase that. And I still probably have stuff in my act that in 5 years I'll be like, that was hack garbage.
Yeah, you do. I can confirm that.
Thank you so much, Janos. Thank you.
But I guess it comes down to this question of like, if you are part of a, shall we say, segment of the population, right? You're black, you're Chinese, whatever. Yeah, you're going to have to address it. Do you have a duty to move it out of hackdom with like, do you feel a sense of responsibility of kind of like, yeah, come on, like we're not just about that. We can just be comics. It doesn't have to be about like I'm Arabic.
Sure.
Security check. Oh.
That's a good point. I guess it's an argue of definition. I don't know if you have a responsibility, but if you're going to do this long enough, you're going to have to be able to see that if you're just doing like what I was like, I'll just take myself an example. I did it long enough to where like I look back and I'm like, I've never gone to an airport and someone's been like, let me take you to the basement. That's never but yet I had like 7 bits about that. So like after a while, it's not that I have a responsibility not to perpetuate that. It's just like if you're going to be true to yourself and your experiences, then we're a lot more than simple stereotypes. You know, I think you can still talk about, even play with stereotypes, but make it personable to you and relevant. And funny's funny, right? Like it'll eventually, truth will come out, I think.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I do have to host this show
do
right
your
now.
thing. Thanks for stopping by, man.
There's something funny going on at Blue Dog. Come right now. I don't know if it's live.
Yeah.
It's live?
It's not live.
It's not live.
It's not live. Okay, go back in time and come to this
Thank
show.
you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Go do your
Thanks
thing,
for
man.
having me. Awesome. All right, take care, guys.
Cheers, man.
There's no worse feeling I've ever had than being on stage trying to do stand-up and having it tank. I mean, I've been in bad plays, but you can pass the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can kind of hide.
Because it's just you as well.
Yeah.
It's you. You can't suddenly say, I didn't write that.
No,
Well,
it
that's
was
not what I
bad.
really think.
Yeah.
You know,
And I started pushing harder. And when you get into that sort of adversarial relationship with the audience, and they were just like,
But it is, when you're stand-up, it is like you're coming out saying, this is the funniest stuff I can do. This is my best.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
someone not liking or not getting it, silence is the worst.
well,
isn't it?
what the collective sound of 100 people groaning quietly to themselves that sounded like, it sounded like, but it wasn't. It was just a bunch of people going, but all together.
This is Richard.
Hi.
This is Emily.
Hey, nice to meet you.
I'm Jason,
Nice to
or
meet you.
Janos,
Good.
as we've seen each other around.
Yeah, it's Jason though, right?
Yeah, most people call me Jason. Yeah,
But it's actually Janos?
that's my actual name. Yeah, that's what my mom calls me.
That's like easy to pronounce. I don't feel like you have to go as Jason.
I went through French school, so it was always like a 10-minute conversation, and then at some point they got it wrong on an attendance sheet, like years ago, like 15 years ago, and then they called out my name, and time came to a crawl, and I realized I'm never gonna have to explain this shit to anybody again. Jason is totally like and then I just became Jason.
Wow.
This is like a good 20 years ago.
Oh my God. Wow. You've never discovered your true self?
I have a third name as well, but this is not about me. This is about you.
Oh my God. It's like multiple personalities.
Maybe. I don't know.
Right now it's Jason on the air.
One of them has a child voice. One of them has an aggressive voice.
That works.
Is your equipment okay? It's hot out.
Yeah, we're fine.
Everything's fine, thank you.
Oh my God.
Doesn't this feel more natural for
Just for the listeners, what happened? Someone was fucking drunk.
and spilled water?
Yeah, before she punched me.
You can grab the mic if you want, since
Can
it's
I
like
swear?
you can swear all you want. Emily.
We prefer if you swear.
Boom.
So for the how do they say it in the broadcasting thing? For the benefit of those listening at home, we just finished the set, and so timing was kind of weird. You came out, we're like, hi, bye. You gotta
Me?
go earlier, right? 'Cause
Oh, earlier.
the show started.
I think meant when I was on stage.
No,
Yeah, which I kind of also did.
no, your set was great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You know what? I've been thinking about that stuff for a long time, and I've been trying to be less afraid of just like shooting the shit on stage. You
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
that's how you're gonna write more stuff.
But that was great. You were comfortable up there. I felt like it worked.
Yeah, had a great party time.
I
Yeah.
feel like I know you a lot better now.
A couple of sets with
And
Emily,
we
and you're
talked
like,
about having sex with stuffed animals as a child. Yeah, great. For all the listeners at home, smell your kids' stuffies.
we're doing it backwards. We know all the personal, deep down stuff.
Oh yeah, now you know nothing about me.
Exactly. We know nothing about you, but it's exciting.
That's why I like it.
Yeah.
It was a great set, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen you a couple of times, and it's always a good time.
Thank you. You too.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I was trying some new stuff.
Yeah, that's what you gotta do. That's what these rooms are for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So comedy.
Yeah.
How long you been doing this thing?
I started improv and sketch like 5 or 6 years ago when I moved to Montreal,
From
Calgary,
Calgary.
to go to McGill to study opera.
okay.
And I realized very quickly that I hated opera.
Because you can sing.
Yeah. I can sing. Yeah, I can sing really well. I just hated it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was also like the whole opera industry and just like studying art in an institutionalized way. I think is pretty messed up.
What's the opera industry? That sounds like a really like there's like all this dark stuff
yeah,
that
none.
nobody knows about.
No, that's because it's like not an industry.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, like even out of our master's program at McGill, like 2 people I know are working right now.
Okay, so
and they're like the best of the best, and yeah, you pretty much have to give up the rest of your life, but you have to be able to act, and you have to be able to sing, and you have to be in super good shape, and you have to be beautiful, and you have to be interesting, you have to be able to schmooze, but your whole life has to be opera.
all the time.
All the time. So it's like,
What's the schmoozing thing? Why do you have to schmooze?
I mean, because everything's about like...
Oh, like after the show.
Appeal. Totally.
The clapping, the flowers.
Exactly.
Like,
and like meeting directors and producers.
Okay.
And like, yeah, it's dumb.
Okay, you got to play the game.
You got to totally play the game. And it was a game that I did not want to play. Yeah, and you have to move to Europe pretty much. I mean, I'm generalizing. I have friends who are doing it in Canada, but like...
Well, let's face it, the opera people are overseas. We get it.
Totally,
That's where it's still a thing there. Here people go as a curiosity, and maybe like older white folks kind of go to all that stuff.
Yeah,
but,
and there's like the big opera halls, but in Germany, like every town will have an opera hall.
Yeah.
You know, so you can work like the like indie opera scene as well as the big opera scene. So there's constant.
They have
work.
their classics, and they have their German operas for some reason. And a bunch of other,
there's no.
There's
indie
a lot
opera
of
scene
different.
I love Germans. I love a lot of things about Germans, but that language is difficult to listen to when being sung. I don't know why. I was listening to Rammstein today. Yeah, I love Rammstein. I don't know, you know Rammstein? They're like a gothic industrial band from Germany.
Oh.
Very popular, but I find the language really hard on the ears. I don't know.
Have you heard like German opera though?
Yeah.
And you don't like it?
Yeah, it just doesn't. It still sounds like instructions on how to build something. I don't know.
Wow. See, I love German opera.
Do you?
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Interesting.
Because their vowels are they fit very well to singing. Yeah, I found a French at least. It's so small and closed and in front. That's difficult. And Italian's just like particular, but German, there's so much to German, and it's such like a bold language.
It's a very bold language. I agree with that.
And I feel like it fits with the like grandioseness of opera.
Maybe I need to go back, listen to some more German opera, because now it's making it sound like it's good. And
listen to some Die Fledermaus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, that's like the funnest one.
Did you say Deflatormouse?
Die Fledermaus.
Deflatormouse.
Yeah.
That's a composer?
No, it's an opera.
That's an opera called Deflatormouse.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Okay. I'm checking that out.
If you know classical music at all, you'll recognize stuff from Die Fledermaus.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, it's like the musical theater of opera.
Okay, so.
Anyways, so I got to Montreal and I hated that, and then so I started doing improv and sketch, and then I started dating a boy, who started doing stand up, and so I was going to all his shows. I think it was because I was like really depressed and hated McGill, and then one day I was like, I can do this too, and so I started, and I was terrible.
Really? That seems to be the common. All comedians feel they were terrible when they started.
Oh, you have to be.
Well, do you mean you were terrible, or you just inexperienced and you were kind of
inexperienced? Yeah, I mean, because I was never like into comedy. You know, sometimes when you listen to comedians and they're like, I transcribed all of Saturday Night Live when I was a child. Right. You know, like I loved performing and doing comedic stuff, but I didn't know comedy at all until I started doing it.
So you weren't like a scene stir. You're just like, I can do this.
Yeah, and now that I do it, I love it, and I listen to it all the time, and so it's been super fun, and totally fallen in love with it.
So, do you approach it in a different way? Like when you write your material, like is it just because you do a lot of like things that happen to you, right? You base it on your experience.
Yeah,
like
I write most of my material on stage. I'll think about stuff while
okay.
I'm riding my bike, and then I'll say what I've been thinking about on stage, and then I'll listen to that recording, and then I'll try and write a joke about it. And then I'll normally do that joke badly about 20 times. And it maybe will turn into an actual joke with a punchline, or I retire it and I had a ton of fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I always thought the way you talked and your kind of bubbly personality was kind of part of your act, but I realized that's who you are.
Oh, yeah.
You kind of talk this way all the time.
Yeah, I got roasted once, and I think this person put it perfectly when they said, you're like an 11-year-old girl who's like, girls can play softball too. And I think that's like super. Yeah, I was actually told that I can't be a comedian because I'm too happy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of nuts.
You have to be suicidal.
Yeah, like you have to be depressed and suicidal and whatever.
You can still be depressed and be really jolly all the time. You can still do it, right?
Yeah. And I feel like nowadays it's all about like having a different voice and like what sets you aside from these hundreds of thousands of other comedians.
Absolutely. There's so many.
There's so many, but it's exciting. Like it's a big industry.
Do you feel any pressure to advance the cause of female comics at all?
Yeah, as in
like,
being
do you feel
good.
like just being good, but like do you want to are you trying to make an impact on female led comedy or just trying to be a comedian?
That's an interesting question.
Okay.
Because I hate that it's even a conversation, you know? And it sucks that it has to be. Because there are still all-female shows because it's still the norm to have all-male weekends.
Right.
And clubs book consistently men. And I think if I'm ever to produce a show, I have the responsibility to book with equal opportunity. But that means both like women and people of color and trans and like whatever your orientation is. And I feel like people need to take more responsibility about that and put the work in, you know? Yeah, like even if someone's a little less of a comic, if they represent a certain group of people that aren't represented enough in comedy, like book them. Show other people in the audience that there's people like you. Maybe someone in the audience is like, oh shit, that guy can do it. Maybe I can do it too. Then...
Yeah, like maybe have a person up there that's from a completely different segment of that you don't hear from very often.
Yeah.
And then surprise, you find out that they're just like you.
Totally.
They just have this other thing going on that's different from you, but otherwise, they also hate waiting in line. They also get constipated. They also don't want to pay bills. They also like watching Netflix or whatever.
Totally, yeah. So I think it's even more of a conversation than just women, you know? Because now white women in comedy, like, we have hardships, but what's the perspective? Really. I think I've had a very privileged experience, especially being in Montreal, because there was a huge wave of people who left, like Amon and Jess and Dan Smith, Noor Hadidi, and
went to do comedy elsewhere.
Like New York, Toronto, and then there was left with this huge pit of like no female middles, like at all, like barely female openers. And so I feel like David Acker and Chris Vendito and Rashta and everyone like really tried to help female comedians, and I think that's the reason why right now Montreal has a really exciting and big and strong group of female comedians. Like, it's super exciting. Yeah. Not that we were given anything we didn't deserve, but I think the bookers realized that there's this huge gap and gave us opportunities. Yeah.
I'm so glad you didn't say that had to be filled.
Our gap had to be filled.
The thing is, it's interesting because when
I mean, that's at least my perspective, you know?
no, but that's what I was asking about. Because when we first, this podcast has been going for a year and a half. So I've been doing this with Richard way longer than I've done comedy. I've only been in the game for about 6 months.
Oh.
And conversations on the podcast and outside of it led to me going up. Richard insisted I should try it. But when we were like, okay, I told him, I think I'm ready. Like, let's check this out. So we went around watching a bunch of comedy shows. We went to all improv things, not improv, but open mic things. And we watched. And I remember telling Richard consistently that I'm like, the ladies are on fucking point. I guess I got lucky. I got to see a bunch of lineups where they were stacked with ladies. And even if, let's say, the jokes were maybe not there yet, or the night was weird, or the crowd was off, one thing that was absolutely consistent with almost, if not 99% of all female comics, is that the poise was there.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell that they put in the work, and they were working the mic, and they would not have been out of place in a professional show.
Totally, yeah.
Right?
Well, I don't think any of us took for granted what we had, you know? Or like, we have to work double as hard because we weren't seeing anyone like us being booked.
Right.
Like, there was a large amount of time, not to talk shit about any clubs, but like, wasn't booking women, you know? Like, at all. It was crazy.
And did it seem almost purposeful, or just?
I don't think so. I think like what I said
like
before.
They weren't thinking about it necessarily as a thing that they needed to enforce.
But there just weren't the women here.
Okay.
Like, at all. Yeah. I mean, Emma was still being booked. Emma Wilkie was still being booked. And Ellie was doing some stuff. Kirsten Finch. But, like, not with any regularity.
That's clearly changed because...
Totally. Oh, my God. Yeah.
When we went a bunch of times, there were a lot of ladies. So
I think
got the message.
I think they really took it under their wings to like really help and grow female comics. Yeah, because the women like really work hard, and their egos aren't as precious.
Right. Yeah, they're kind of like, I'm just gonna go up there and it's like I guess there was a time where ethnic comics faced the same thing. Now it's kind of like gone the other way, where I feel like it's being used a little too much. Like, it's being relied upon as like, oh, I'm ethnic and I have a dad that has a weird accent, so I can do comedy.
Oh my God.
Right.
You guys have gone to the ethnic show, right?
I've heard of it, yes.
Oh, it's like everyone making fun of their mom.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, like I feel like Russell Peters opened that door, and then what's his name? Sugar Sammy also opened that door. And it's a door that's going to open. But I just feel that at some point, you need to move past it, you know?
Totally.
And I was just watching, I was telling Richard, I was watching the stand-ups, which is like a Netflix
Yeah,
thing.
I really want to see that.
I don't want to spoil it, but I feel like the first guy is killer, and then the rest,
Really?
But I just, rather than the jokes being my style or not, what I found that it was a little bit too much of like, hey, I'm the butch lesbian, and I'm just going to do a bunch of other things about that. Hey, I'm the nervous white girl, and I'm just going to do the nervous white girl bit about my tampons. And, you know, and I'm like, I get it. Those are jokes, and that's a thing, but I'm like, we need to push past it. You know what I mean? And when I've seen the female comics in Montreal, I find that I've heard almost none of that easy to go to. Oh, I'm a crazy bitch. Like, they're doing fucking jokes the way that a dude would do jokes.
Totally. Well, yeah, I think I'm going back to the exact same point, but like, because we all came up with like out role models, basically, we all just figured out our unique voices. And I think because a bunch of us are moving away, and I think that really helps because now we're going into different cities without like a style that people have seen before, like
definitely.
a different point of view, and not all tampon jokes, or like very little tampon jokes.
You get to do.
But hey, we all got our token tampon joke.
Yeah, you gotta sprinkle it in.
Yeah,
exactly.
I can't. I do a little ethnic comedy too, you know. But I try to move on afterwards. Like I'll do it like, hey, let's acknowledge this, and then let's move on to.
Yeah, but at the same time, for the last 50 years, white dudes have been doing masturbation jokes, and that's still okay.
Jesus,
you know.
They do never. That is true. That's a topic that is never done. I find. I mean, never done, isn't never finished. And I'm like, I wish it would be finished.
Yeah, I think we have to get over, I understand your point of view, but I think we have to get over the fact that, different points of view are just, novelties.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It depends how the person brings it, really. Because, someone can go up, do every classic stereotypical topic out there, but if they bring it with some sort of, fresh perspective, it can still work.
Yeah, that's fair.
My feeling on, I don't know about you, Richard, but my feeling with...
wow, I thought your name was Paul this whole time.
Well, Richard, Paul...
Close. It's pretty close.
Do you go by Dick ever?
I don't.
That's good.
No,
You're not a 7-year-old man.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
I get asked a lot, though.
Yeah. So, I forget what I was saying.
Who would choose to be called Dick?
I would totally. I would insist.
Absolutely.
I would, especially in formal settings. I'd be like, excuse me, you've been calling me Richard in this general meeting for the last 10 minutes. My name is Dick. Dick Ambrose. Dick. Just keep going over and over. But what was I saying? Yeah, I feel like that masturbation joke, depending on who's doing it, it can't look too much like you masturbate. You know what I mean? When someone's doing the joke,
you're a chronic masturbator?
When it looks like you're too, like you can picture it too much, there's no more distance, there's no more, the crowd member doesn't have to go there. They're just like, oh yeah, this person definitely, and a lot, too much. Yeah. I feel like the awkwardness sets in right away, you know? If someone's like, I love to wank off, and people are like, oh, well, he looks like he does other stuff too. And then occasionally rolls up a doob in the shower, and and then he wanks off, and it's cool. Okay, I can laugh at the joke. But when you're starting to look for stains on the person's pants while they're doing the set, subconsciously.
Yeah, as soon as her hand drops, it's
And they're they want to high five you at the end of some joke. You're like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I feel I feel like that's like that with every topic, every topic. If you're way too much into, I don't know, domestic violence jokes, which definitely need to go. Domestic, yeah, some people still do them.
Domestic I guess people tell rape jokes,
Yeah, but again, the right comic, I feel that can do them is the comic where you're you look at him and you're like, he wouldn't do that. He's clearly...
Oh, see, I think the right comic who can do it is someone who's experienced it.
Oh, God. Oh, experienced it, yes. Oh,
oh my God, not
as a victim.
What?
Right?
I think jail should have more comedy shows.
I don't like rape jokes unless it's the rapist telling him. It's like Asian movies. I want to hear
it's not authentic.
I need to watch foreign movies in their original language. It's the same thing. We're all going to hell for that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've talked about the situation with the women and stuff, and I got that out of the way. The situation with the females. This is starting to become the Planet of the Apes podcast. Tell us about the female situation. No, but in all honesty, what I want to ask you was, what would you like to see happen in the scene? And what do you feel would be a good thing to happen
in the Montreal scene?
Yeah. What does it need?
Oh, man.
Apart from this song.
God, that's a loaded question.
Okay.
Because I love the scene, but I also have a lot of problems with it.
Sure, of course.
Man.
What would you improve? Let's put it that way, instead of what you don't like.
Oh my goodness. Why is this so hard for me to think of?
More
what
venues?
would I... Sorry?
More venues, more fests, more unity.
Yeah, I think just more, a way to get the locals more appreciative of the amazing comedy scene that's here for the other 11 and a half months of the year that's not just for laughs.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to get some sort of momentum going in between the big festivals.
Totally.
Okay.
And I really don't think there's any outreach to university students, basically.
That's true. That seems to be a thing.
Crazy, yeah. And you walk in to buildings and you don't see posters up for comedy shows, and
Yeah.
And I mean, some shows have done an amazing job of getting a consistent audience. I mean, Blue Dog here does a really good job.
Yeah, Art Loft, I think Art Loft does really well.
Yeah. Psychic City, Aloha, amazing. Or even like talking sketch, you have Joketown, like really good, consistent.
The artisanal comedy show too. They always have a good room.
Yeah. But I think like being more conscious of booking too. Because the problem I had with that show is that like they weren't booking women for a long time. And that's a problem. If you're gonna have a show downtown and you're bringing in students, like liberals,
just get some ladies
half
on.
women.
Yeah.
Put ladies on your show.
And see what happens.
And stop saying that you quote unquote book funny.
Really? Is that the thing they do?
Oh my God.
That sounds like okay. Go,
I have been told that more times than I can count.
We book funny.
Men I have had calm but aggressive conversations with about like, hey dude, why are there no women on your lineup? And they say, I don't see gender, I book funny. And I was like, well, your funny is a lot different than a lady's funny, or a person of color's funny, or like a trans person funny, like you can't just say you book funny, because you probably hate like Amy Schumer, No,
but you book funny sounds like one of those. It's like how not neo-Nazis now. It's not cool to say like white power anymore. You'll say shit like I'm a Western male, and you use all these new benign soft terms to basically, but you're still walking around with a crew cut and a flag and like combat boots and getting the face of people. But no, it's like I book funny sounds. I mean, I don't want to judge that particular person. They may not have just thought of
multiple people.
Oh, you've gotten that specific line multiple times.
By multiple people.
Oh, that's fucked up.
It's messed up. Yeah.
That's no good.
No.
Okay.
No. And I appreciate the way they run their shows. I'm obviously not going to name names, but like, get over that.
Yeah.
If you say that, you are part of the problem.
You really are. And it's crazy because, I mean, you'd think that in comedy you'd find more type of people who are like, yeah, whatever, let's try it. Let's try different things. And
Right?
If you'd expect the one place where anything goes is a fucking comedy show.
Yeah, people are so precious.
Yeah, and if they'll put on like an 87-year-old man who who we're talking about, and he's hilarious, and I love him dearly. Like at that point, you clearly have shown a willingness. But they say I even hate this line of questioning, or because it's like if you put on like a bear on a motorcycle, you can put on a woman. You're like, wait, no. This is entirely the wrong approach here. There should have never been a question of man or woman. You should have just. And if you see someone underrepresented, I feel like it's entirely.
Well, you'd think that somebody who is made their life about comedy would understand that there are different flavors of comedy and not just their own personal taste, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, and again, I'm not talking about anyone specifically here, but sometimes there are rooms that are, in my limited perspective, kind of an excuse for the certain person to feature themselves.
Oh, totally.
And then they'll kind of have a couple of people on to sort of to mask what this is.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit like them, and then like they're like hosting, and then they're finishing, and in the beginning and the middle, they're putting in a 6 minutes between every comedian, and their faces everywhere on the thing. You're just like, okay, I don't think this is a comedy show, bro.
No, exactly.
I think this is like you're telling people to come to this concert.
Yeah.
And you're inviting them to your backyard.
Yeah, and you're shooting yourself in the foot. Absolutely. Yeah. We need more shows like Ladies and Gentlemen,
Yeah, is that a good one?
Ladies and Gentlemen,
Yeah.
R.I.P. It shut down. Or like after 4 years of them doing it every single week, they're done with that show, which is super fair. But yeah, Chris and Dan, that was like, I'd say one of the best shows in the city.
Oh,
it was great.
Pleasure,
it was just at a cafe, and it was free, and they did it if there was 3 people in the audience or 50 people in the audience. And I think like that's also what Montreal needs more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were talking about the students earlier. I remember one specific open mic night I did where there were like 4 people upstairs, and downstairs was packed to the rafters with students.
Yeah.
And I kept just looking down and up and down and up, and then just waiting for someone from the show upstairs to go down and go, "Hey, motherfuckers, come upstairs."
Totally.
For like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not shitting on the person who runs the show. I'm just saying, like, yeah, there does seem to be like an acceptance of this state of things, as opposed to a fuck. Let's get some action going. Let's take these shows to the schools. We have fucking how many universities here? You know.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me that we're not harnessing this. So I agree. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the best room in the city right now? What's your favorite? You can give a couple if you want.
Right now.
Assuming you love many of them.
Oh man, just like open mic.
Sure, yeah. Like people don't go out to see comedy as much as they should. So if somebody's listening to this and they want to get into it, where should they go?
Oh, good question. Good question. Honestly, I think Blue Dog's one of the most authentic rooms right now.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It's just like fun. It's underground.
It's gritty as fuck. I love it.
It's
was a
super
great show.
gritty. Yeah, because you have the open mics at the clubs, and those are fine.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great, you know?
Yeah, of course.
They serve a time and a place, but yeah, this is like it's a hangout.
It's true.
Yeah.
You can like do crazy shit, like sit down and podcast after a set and
Totally.
listen to the Man Down Under. Is that what the song is?
Yeah. And I mean,
And
this
get
isn't
rickrolled.
Grumpies where like no one's paying attention,
Yeah.
but like no one's making you pay attention here.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
cool.
a nice little mix. Yeah. I think, right now. I mean, before Ladies and Gentlemen, I think was everyone's fave. But, but there's not a ton of rooms right now.
Yeah, it isn't.
No.
What do you think about like super shows? Like they should like one-time affairs. You think there should be more of them?
Oh, wait, hold up. Favorite show in the city, Aloha. Duh.
Yeah. Okay. Aloha.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay.
Have you been there?
I don't think so.
Oh, damn. Yeah, Psychic City, best venue there is right
Okay.
now. Yeah. It's,
What is it about Psychic City that you like?
Well, it's, I don't like throwing around this word because all jokes are welcome there, but it feels more like a safe space
Oh, okay.
because of the people they book.
Uh-huh.
It's just like curated very well. So it attracts a huge group of students and people who wouldn't necessarily normally come to comedy shows. And I think those shows are also super important, you know? Like have like hashtag no rape feminist LGBTQ friendly shows. Like I think those are so important because that gets you a huge demographic of audience that hates comedy.
Yeah, they do.
Because, and I mean, people are so precious about this. Oh my God. And like, comedy shouldn't be censored, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, but there are shows where like you go in and you know that like men are going to talk about masturbating and like gross shit and women too, you know?
Sure. Or like the Nasty Show at
Nasty
JFO,
Show,
which is like
totally.
specifically there to like trigger people.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure
You could
there's
do the
like
opposite.
there's dark comedy festivals too.
Sure.
And so why can there
You
be
say
that?
Dark comedy?
Dark comedy.
I heard dart.
Dart? Oh my God, could you imagine if someone like after their punchline?
Whatever it
they
is,
have
you
to-
just gotta toss one after the
yeah,
every joke.
exactly.
That
So
sounds
sorry.
dangerous.
So yeah, you're saying that you like it, Aloha, because there's these opportunities for people from different walks of life, or
Yeah, more to
And
like
some subject matter just off limits.
not even like nothing is off limits there.
it's just understood.
It's just understood, and the people who book the shows just book it in a certain way that it's just comics that fit. It's okay. No, here's it is. It's comics that fit the audience, which I think is also really important. You know,
cool,
like I'm
yeah.
talking about downtown
A
shows.
good booker will know. Yeah.
Totally,
Yeah, of course.
exactly. Yeah, because you don't want to lose your like. The Anglophone audience members in Montreal are so precious and amazing, and we don't give them nearly enough credit.
Yeah, this is true.
There's so few people who come and support live comedy, and we should just be like putting them into a bear hug.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we should just be kissing
and
them.
having shows under 90 minutes, and
Definitely.
booking. Oh my
Holy
god!
fuck! Yeah, that's
booking proper hosts.
Jesus
you know.
Christ, do I agree with you on that one?
Yeah.
So when's Aloha? Like
This Friday.
Is it every Friday? Every Friday?
It's one Friday a month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, would this be the second or third Friday?
This would be the second.
The second.
Okay.
You can like Aloha on Facebook.
Ah, okay.
In case anyone wants to.
Aloha.
Or Aloha at Psychic
I'll
City.
link it. Oh, we'll put a link in the description.
Yeah. It's a super chill space. It's like a secret location, and
Ooh.
BYOB.
That's exciting.
Is that legal to say? I don't know.
I don't know.
I've never done that kind of thing, that kind of show. How do you even get on that show? Apart, or they book funny? I just wanted to use that.
Yeah. they look funny. I think it's like partly asked, partly you message in.
Yeah, and then seeing maybe. Yeah, I mean, like.
They book a really good mix. Yeah, they have some new people on sometimes, but because it's happening once a month, they're like.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
right.
a really well-run show. It's pretty fun.
Cool.
I have
go
to
check
look
it out.
after 2 babies tomorrow, so.
Actual babies or
Actual
animals?
babies.
Me too.
Really?
Well, they're mine.
Oh, God, I'm so sorry.
What?
See, I get paid $18 an hour to do this.
They cost me $18 an hour. That's,
Yeah.
What a coincidence.
Oh my
We have so much in
God.
common. Okay, well, we'll let you go, but
Right.
thank you for stopping
Hey,
by.
thank you guys.
And maybe
Paul.
Paul, yeah.
Paul, Roger. I'm
Paul,
Roger.
Dick.
Paul and Dick.
Dave Matthews Band.
Can you promise to come and do the show at some point?
This one?
Yeah.
What
this,
show?
This show, the show we're doing.
Our podcast.
The
The one we're doing right now?
The podcast we're pretending on doing, yeah.
Are we not recording?
We're totally
we are.
recording.
Oh my god! Like, was this a trial?
No,
run?
but like
I might have said wrong things many times. So.
Don't worry, I can send you the episode ahead of time. You can fact check it or
I think
check it.
we're
But
good.
yeah, you should come to the actual studio sometime and do it with
Yeah,
us.
oh, that'd be super sweet. Thanks for having me. People should check out if I can.
Plug. Go for it.
Off JFL. I'm doing Ladyfest at Montreal Improv on. Could be doing July 20th. That's a Thursday at 10:30. Oh my God, I should know this. And then I'll be doing Joketown on July 21st at 10:30. Those are 2 of my favorite shows in the whole world at Mainline. So come check those out.
Are you on social media?
I am.
Where can people find you?
Twitter at mbilton, EMBILTON. And Instagram, Emily Bilton, whatever.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, share
Well.
some cute pics of babies a lot.
Babies. We love babies. Well,
I
thank
love
you.
them. I just never want them to come out of me. You know?
I understand. Having witnessed 2 of those things, I can say that I understand.
I'm so sorry.
And on that note, have a wonderful evening.
You too.
And this has been Paul and Dick of Fire in the Hall.
I don't know.